This was supposed to be the biggest game of all time, an infinite universe right in your hands. Instead, it became one of the biggest disappointments in gaming history, a cautionary tale of hype gone wrong. But what if that particular failure was really just the beginning? A decade later, the story of No Man's Sky isn't about what is missing at launch, it's about how it became a masterclass in saving a game. This is the story of how one of the gaming's most infamous launch turned into the greatest redemption arc. It's a symbol of resilience that has redefined what good games development can look like, a journey that took a universe as wide as an ocean but as deep as a puddle, and spent a decade filling it with creativity, community, and an unwavering commitment to getting it right. To really get the fall, you first have to understand the dream. Before it was released, No Man's Sky was more than a game, it was a promise. Coming from Hello Games, a tiny studio led by Sean Murray, it was pitched as a near mythical experience, a procedurally generated universe, infinite and explorable, 18 quintillions of planets, each one unique with its own life, secrets, and landscapes. The early trailers were absolutely breathtaking. They showed the seamless journey from a planet's surface up through the atmospheres into the silence of space and right back down onto another world, all without a single loading screen. We saw a vibrant ecosystem, huge space battles between warring factions, and a mysterious alien ruins. In interviews, Sean Murray spoke with his infectious passion about what was possible, talking about features like planetary physics, different ship classes for different playstyles. That's the tantalizing idea that you could, theoretically, just stumble upon another player in a vast endless space. Fueled by Sony's marketing muscle, the hype train went into overdrive. The game was on stage at E3, it got a massive media coverage, and built a level of anticipation you just don't see for a new intellectual property, especially not one from a small indie team. People weren't just excited, they were building their own versions of the game in their mind. They dream of being a space pirate, dedicated explorers, or galactic traders in a living, breeding cosmos. The promise wasn't just a game anymore. It was the ultimate sandbox for space exploration. On August 9th, 2016, millions of players woke up the first alien planet, and for a huge number of them, that's when the dream died. The launch of No Man's Sky was, to put it mildly, a catastrophe. The backlash was immediate and it was brutal. A viral Reddit thread popped up compiling a massive list of features that were shown or talked about before release but were nowhere to be found in the actual game. There were no large-scale space battle, no complex faction system, no rivers or waterfalls, and the point of interest of planets felt sparse. Planets often felt barren, creatures looked like weird mashups of random parts, and the core gameplay loop, gathering resources to fuel your ship to gather more resources, got old and fast. The game felt, as many put it, a mile wide and an inch deep. But one of the biggest sticking points was multiplayer. While Murray has been careful to downplay the direct co-op, the chances of encountering another player was a huge deal for many. The moment the truth came when two streamers managed to find the exact same spot on the same planet at the same time, only to realize they couldn't see each other. It was definitely proof the shared universe wasn't there. That single moment did the most damage, turning disappointment into genuine betrayal. The game rating on Steam plummeted, review bombed by angry players. The anger wasn't just about missing features, it was about feeling being lied to. Fans who had paid $60 for a pre-order feels they'd been sold a vision that simply didn't exist. The community that had been built on a hype curve into a gaming most toxic backlashes, and developers at Hello Games even started receiving death threats. In the middle of this firestorm, Hello Games did something almost unheard of in the modern games industry. They went completely silent. Sean Murray, who has been the very public face of the game, vanished from Twitter and the public eye for months. The studio official channels only gave out brief updates about bug fixes. At the time, this radio silence was seen as another huge mistake. People thought it was arrogance, or even worse, that the team had just taken the money and run. Forbes even called their response a masterclass on how to not handle a post-launch crisis. Any hope that the game could be fixed started to fade. But behind the closed door of their small office in Guildford, Hello Game wasn't hiding, they were working. They were digging through the mountains of criticism, taking into the community's frustration, and laying the groundwork for what could become next. Instead of fighting a PR battle they knew they couldn't win, they put their heads down and decided to respond with action, not words. It was a huge gamble. They could have just moved on, started a new project, and let No Man's Skies become a cautionary tale, but they chose the harder path. 3 months after that disastrous launch, in November 2016, the silence finally broke. Hello Game released the Foundation update. It was the first critical step on a long road of redemption. The update brought to the first version of base building, letting players finally create a home on a planet they love. It's also added friars you could own and new survivors and created game modes. And crucially, the game notes ended with a simple powerful sentences. This is the first of many free updates. And they were kidding. Over the next decade, Hello Games released a relentless stream of massive game-changing updates, well over 40 in total, all completely free. This wasn't just about fixing bugs, it was a systematic rebuilding and expansion of the entire game. The updates came like clockwork, each one tackling a major launch criticism and adding features no one expected. Examples like Pathfinder in 2017 added planetary vehicles called exocraft, ship specialization, and some much-needed visual upgrades. Atlas Rises, later that year, finally introduced a proper 30-hour story, a mission system, and the first basic form of co-op where you could see other players as glowing orbs. But the real turning point was next, in 2018. This was a big one. It introduced a full multiplayer experience, letting a small group of friends finally team up and explore the universe together. It also added a third-person camera, characters customization, and a huge overhaul to the base building. Next was so significant it felt like a relaunch, and for the first time since 2016, the conversation around No Man's Sky started to change. Beyond in 2019 was another massive leap, adding full virtual reality support for the entire game and expanding the online experience with the Nexus, a social hub where up to 32 players could meet up, show off their ships, and go on a mission together. And the list goes on. Origins dramatically diversified the universe with new planets, weirdest creatures, and massive building. Companions let you tame and raise alien creatures as pets. Frontier introduced living, breeding alien settlements that you could become the overseer of. Outlaws brought in pirate control system and smuggling. More recently, the Orbital update completely revamped Space Station and added ship creators, and the Remnant update in early 2026 added things like gravity gun and an industrial haulers. Each of these could have easily been sold as space DLC or expansion by another company, but Hello Game gave them all for free, a decision that slowly but surely rebuilt trust. Or if this is a story that has made you curious enough to try it, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments below. What was the update that brought you back or made you jump in for the first time? While you're down there, hitting the like button and subscribing really helps the channel keep telling stories like this one. Thank you for your support. At some point, the entire narrative shifted. No Man's Sky was no longer a joke or a cautionary tale. It had become the gold standard of horror redemption art. That proof was undeniable. On Steam, the game that once languished in negative reviews clawed its way back up. By its 10th anniversary, its recent reviews were setting at very positive, a monumental achievement reflecting the years of goodwill. The player's number tells a similar story. While the initial peak was huge, the game has seen consistent new peaks with every major update, a testament to its staying power. On its 10th anniversary in August 2026, Hello Game wasn't just celebrating game survival, but its thriving state. But maybe the greatest triumph isn't over the review score or a player count, it's the community. The toxic wasteland of 2016 has transformed into one of the most positive and dedicated community in all gaming. Players now share incredible base design, document their discovery in a galactic hub, and organize community events. They create art, write lore, and welcome new players with open arms. They went from feeling betrayed to becoming the game's biggest cheerleaders, because Hello Games earned their trust back, one free update at a time. The studio commitment showed that a game story isn't finished at launch, it defines by the care you put into it for years to come. This journey has become a symbol of resilience. Hello Game proved that a bad launch doesn't have to be the end. They championed a pro-consumer model, rejecting paid expansion and microtransactions to build long-term value for the players. In an industry often criticized for quick cash grab, No Man's Sky stands as a powerful counterexample. In August 2026, No Man's Sky celebrated its 10th anniversary, a milestone that seems absolutely impossible a decade earlier. To mark the occasion, Hello Games didn't just look back, they looked forward. Alongside community celebration, they announced their next major update, Cosmos, and of course it will be free. While details were kept on the wraps, the name alone sparked a fire of speculations, with fans guessing it could mean a universal overhaul or a fundamental change to how the star system worked. It was a clear statement. Even after a decade and well over 40 major updates, this journey isn't over. In a message to the community, Sean Murray noted that even after 10 years of exploration by millions of players, it's estimated that less than 1% of the game's 18 quintillion planets has been discovered. In that same way, he explained that small team at Hello Games feels they have a lot left to explore in what No Man's Sky can still become. And the studio itself is growing. While a dedicated team continues to expand the No Man's Sky universe, Hello Games is also working on this next ambitious project, Light No Fire, a fantasy game set on a procedurally generated, Earth-sized planet. The community trust into the studio is now so strong that the announcement was met not with skepticism, but with incredible excitement. A trust built on the foundation of a decade of promise kept. The story of No Man's Sky is more than a comeback. It's a paradigm shift. It proved that great games development isn't just about flawless launch, but about what the studio does after launch. It's about long-term vision, listening to your players, having the humility to admit you fell short and the courage to spend 10 years making it right. Hello Games took one of the biggest failures in gaming history and through sheer unrelenting work, transformed it into a masterpiece of the genre. They didn't just add features, they added heart. They didn't just fix bugs, they fixed a broken promise. That proved that with enough dedication, any universe, no matter how empty it seems at first, can be filled with infinite wonder. And that is a masterclass not just in game development, but in the power of the second chance. For more stories like this, gaming news, retro gaming, and everything gaming, please consider hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell for more. Also, I cover gaming news via my website, jesusgg.xyz, gaming news without the clickbait. This was Jesus from Jesus Gaming, Health and Success, and happy gaming!